Hello, how's it going, everybody? Welcome into a brand new episode of Spencer Talks NASCAR. Spencer Urquhart back at you for another one of these things, y'all. This has been a fun journey. We are now on to race 9, Texas Motor Speedway. Going to be hopefully a pretty good 1.5 miles. Typically pretty entertaining with the next-gen car, unlike the short tracks, which we're going to get to that in just a minute. My thoughts on the short track package, what NASCAR should do. And of course, we're going to preview the Texas Spring Race, some long name, Auto Trader Eco Park Automotive 400, I think. Yeah, it's too damn long. Gotta shorten the names, man. Why y'all doing all that, man? I know y'all gotta get all the sponsors in, but come on, man. Let's call it something shorter. But anyway, we'll have a preview of that race as well as our best bets here coming up. We're gonna not spend too much time on the short track stuff. We're going to get right into the Texas best bets and preview. And then also got a little bonus segment for y'all. Going to be talking the top prospects. Who are the NASCAR top prospects, the names that we could be seeing in the Cup Series as soon as next season. We're going to discuss the names that I consider the big four as well as a few other names. So we're going to first knock out this short track debate because, man, this has been the topic of conversation after yet another boring short track race, 2 weeks in a row of just blah. And in Martinsville, really blah because, yeah, they had the late caution. You're setting up another dramatic ending, but guess what? No drama there. William Byron holds off Chase Elliott to get the win. And, boy, that had a lot of people sick because if Chase Elliott would have bumped Byron out of the way and won that race, we wouldn't be getting nearly as much complaining. I can tell y'all that right now. Because Chase Elliott, when he wins, he's the most popular driver. So people like that. But William Byron, I don't know what it is with William Byron. I mean, I guess he's, as the hipsters say, mid. I mean, it's like he's not a bad guy. I mean, he doesn't do anything wrong, but he's also just not a very flashy winner, I guess is my point here. He's not someone that has that bravado about him that's like a superstar. Like Kyle Larson doesn't necessarily have that either, but at least with Kyle Larson, he runs the Indy cars now at the Indy 500. He tested this week at the Indy 500. There's a lot of buzz about him outside of NASCAR. William Byron, I feel like he doesn't do much outside of NASCAR. This is kind of the vibe I get from him, which there's nothing wrong with that. But as far as NASCAR wanting to be a mainstream popular series with all these stars, they talk about it. It's always a debate. Oh, NASCAR doesn't have enough stars. We need more stars. We need more Jeff Gordon type, Dale Earnhardt personalities. But a lot of these guys coming up the ranks today just didn't really have to work as hard as those guys. At least that's just my opinion on it. I know a guy like William Byron obviously had to work hard. I'm not trying to knock his work ethic, but as far as that outside personality, it just doesn't seem to be there for him. And even Chase Elliott, everyone loves Chase Elliott, but let's be real, if he wasn't Bill Elliott's son, like what's there to really like about Chase Elliott personality wise? I mean, and it's tough for these guys nowadays because you kind of have to watch what you say. That's another thing that's controversial about this. And it's easy to say, oh, just be who you are, just be a big personality. But in this age of cancel culture, it's like, anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox about that. That's a whole nother debate. But as far as this short track stuff, y'all, everyone's saying tire wear is the solution. But I'm going to punch back at that and say, yeah, it is a temporary solution. Yes, Bristol was entertaining and that they had a lot of tire failure. It made it fun and interesting. But is that really a sustainable solution? Do you really want that every short track with that much tire wear? I don't think NASCAR wants that. I think that's why these past couple races were what they were, because I don't think NASCAR wants that much tire wear, because that just creates more torn up equipment and just more of a crazy race. But I just don't really see a big solution here other than the increased horsepower as far as a long-lasting solution, which for next season they might. I know they're saying the budget not really there to do that this year. Tire wear, they could try to have it not as good of a tire to try to make the wear. But that just sounds, I just don't know about that. That just seems kind of scary to want to make the tire worse. To me, there should be other factors that can make the racing good besides tire wear. I think the increased horsepower is one of them. Again, I'm not an expert on this topic, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. That's just as an outside observer. That's just my just thinking out loud, soapbox thoughts on these things. You know, this Martinsville race, very disappointing. Hopefully the short track stuff can be a little bit better moving forward. A lot better, actually, because, yeah, that was not fun. But hopefully the powers that be can solve that. I obviously can't solve that stuff. But anyway, let's move on to the Texas best bets, y'all. They don't have to beat a dead horse to death. I mean, we spent 6 minutes on it, so we kind of did. But anyway, let's move on to these best bets, y'all, because I got some best bets for y'all this week that I think are going to do pretty well here at Texas. There are a couple of new faces entering the race, though. Austin Hill and Jimmy Johnson. So we're going to have a couple new faces. Doubt either of them will make a huge impact. But you never know. I mean, they're both in pretty competitive cars. Austin Hill going to be driving a third RCR car. Should be pretty decent. Jimmy, of course, going to be driving for himself there at Legacy Motor Club. So we'll see if those guys can do anything. But let's get into these best bets here. We'll go through the field before we pull up the best bets. Here it is, y'all. Kyle Larson, this week's favorite. Kyle Larson having a big week this week, testing for the Indy 500. He is the favorite to win. Makes sense. He's Mr. Intermediate there at plus 425. Denny Hamlin, not far behind there at plus 650, as well as Tyler Reddick and William Byron. These are the four to watch, it looks like. The four most likely to win. Byron and Hamlin have a combined 5 wins on the season. Those two guys have won over half the races. We've run 8 races. And then Larson won, so that's 6. Who won the other 2? Yeah, Suarez got that crazy win, and then Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is our other winner. So, yeah, not a whole lot of winners so far this year. Only 5. So, yeah, not a whole lot of diversity there like had been the case in years past with the next-gen car. But we might have a first-time winner this week. You know, maybe Reddick breaks through. Ryan Blaney there at 10-1. Martin Truex Jr. I mean, Truex had that Richmond race won. Got it stolen from him there by Hamlin. And C. Bell, he's capable of winning. Bubba Wallace is a name that's really trending up. 14-1. He ran well last week at Martinsville. He ran really well at Texas last year, led a lot of laps. And the odds makers are taking notice. Chase Elliott really trending up there at 16-1. Him and Ross Chastain tied there. Elliott got his best finish of the year last week, 3rd place at Martinsville. Almost won that thing. Was right there with William Byron, but couldn't quite get it done. Chastain, Ty Gibbs, there in the mix. And then Kyle Busch, the odds makers, giving him some love this week. It's getting to the point with Kyle Busch to where if it's short tracks, like he's crazy because it used to be short tracks where Kyle Busch's bread and butter. Now it's unless it's a super speedway or an intermediate, it's like Kyle Busch not really a factor. Well, he's still pretty good at the road courses, but short tracks, not his bread and butter with RCR. But the intermediates, he ran well at Las Vegas before his pit crew messed him up. He was near the top 5 in that race. So 18-1, maybe worth a flyer. Definitely not going to write Kyle Busch off completely. Joey Logano, 20-1. He's been running better lately. Alex Bowman been pretty steady there. Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher. Not great starts of the season, but respectable. And then we've got our long shots here. Pretty abrupt drop off there. Eric Jones, 60-1. Noah Gragson, 66-1. Daniel Suarez there, 80-1. He hadn't shown a whole lot of speed since his Atlanta win, but still a mid-pack guy. Chase Briscoe is someone that's been pretty good lately. He's up into the top 16 in points. So 100-1, I mean, you could do worse. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to win, but it's like 100-1. I might put a buck on that shoot. And Austin Hill, one of our new guys, Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon. There's a big cluster of drivers here, these mid-pack guys. I'm not even going to list them all off. Jimmy Johnson there also, 200-1 there. A bunch of names here. All in the mix here. Odds makers not giving any of these guys a chance. Pretty much all the Stuart Haas guys. Yeah, Priest, Perry, and the Spire guys. Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar, Corey LaJoy, all in this discussion in our super deep long shots there. Ty Dillon in the field this week. Going to be driving for Colleague. Kaz Grala, he's made all the starts so far at Rick Ware. Near the bottom there with Daniel Hemrick and Justin Haley, Harrison Burton, Ty Gilliland, Ricky Stenhouse, our field fillers there. Although I got to say, this is a pretty deep cup field. I mean, Gilliland and Stenhouse, I mean, yeah, they're not great, but they're guys that are capable of maybe stealing a top 10. They're 8-1. Top 10, not too bad. Not too bad. So anyway, we'll get to our best bets here now on the show. And we're going to start off with our top 10 plays here. I feel like Kyle Busch, while he hadn't been running too well lately, I think, is a pretty good bet to bounce back this week and get a top 10. He is at minus 150, and I like that play. I think that's a pretty good play there. Chase Elliott, also a name to watch there. I feel like either one of these would be good plays, but I think Kyle Busch is a guy that is going to be very motivated to make sure he runs well this week because he doesn't have a points cushion anymore. I mean, he had those good start, first couple races he ran well, but he doesn't have much points cushion anymore to where he's got to start putting together some strong finishes. And so I think that begins this week, as long as his pit crew doesn't mess him up. I think Kyle Busch is okay as far as this week getting the top 10. And then we've got Eric Jones, who that price is actually at FanDuel at plus 240 here at MGM. MGM as a whole seems to have the best prices this week, but Eric Jones there plus 180. I mean, it looks okay value, but I would rather the plus 240 at FanDuel. And the reason I like Eric Jones this week is because I feel like this is a week that he could really break through, being that he's got a good track record at mile and a halves. Jimmy Johnson will be running this week. He could get some valuable feedback from the 7-time champ potentially, and he's got a good track record here at Texas. A lot of that came when he was with JGR, but still, he's a guy that has shown that he's capable at intermediate tracks. So I think Eric Jones, if you're looking for a longer shot, top 10 play is a good bet. Top 5 this week, I like Ryan Blaney at plus 175. I feel like Ryan Blaney, a very savvy play at this price because he's someone that doesn't get quite the respect he deserves. I mean, he's been an elite driver this year. I know he doesn't have a win, but he gets the most out of his equipment. I mean, even if he doesn't have quite the speed of the Hendrick and Gibbs cars, he muscles those Penske cars in the top 5 finishes. And Penske, I think, is getting a little better. I mean, Logano's been running better lately, so I know it hadn't been the smoothest of starts, but Blaney, defending Cup Series champion, definitely still Ford's best bet to get a good run. So I think at plus 175 to finish top 5, that's a good price because I don't know if he'll quite get the win or top 3, being that these 4 in front of him on the odds chart are so strong. But I think they're at that price, he's a good amount cheaper than the other 4 to finish top 5. So I think he's definitely one of the top 5 drivers this week, and I think you're getting pretty good value with him there. And then my other top 5 play is Ty Gibbs, because Ty Gibbs, I know he hadn't been running quite as well lately, but he's off to a strong start and did really well at Las Vegas. I believe he had a top 5 there, so I think Ty Gibbs will continue his good streak. Intermediates seem to treat him well, and he'll have the speed. He's definitely the best value among the Toyota guys because all the other ones are priced up there. Reddick, Hamlin, Truex, Seabell, and Bubba. I mean, Ty Gibbs, out of the big 6 Toyotas, Ty Gibbs is the cheapest, and to me, that's value. I mean, Bubba, I know Bubba's been good. I know he did good at Texas last year, but plus 250, I don't see value on Bubba there. I feel like Bubba, I just don't trust Bubba quite enough for that. Where Ty Gibbs, I know he's still very young, but at this price and in JGR equipment, I'll take the chance on him to finish top 5 at plus 270. And then for top 3, I'm going with a pretty safe chalk play there. I'm going with the favorite Kyle Larson. Not going to pick him to win, but I feel like at plus 125, that's decent value to finish top 3. It's not, I didn't really like anything that much this week for top 3. I really didn't. They just didn't really have much that I liked. I mean, none of these, Reddick, Byron, Blaney, Trick. I just don't think any of these prices stand out for top 3. I mean, maybe Chase Elliott at 5-1 if you're feeling froggy, and he got top 3 last week. It'd be tough for him to do that 2 weeks in a row. So didn't show me enough at Las Vegas. I mean, Kyle Busch at 5-1, like that's just terrible. So Kyle Larson top 3. Yeah, it's not an exciting play. It's kind of a bland, boring chalk play. But guess what? We're trying to win money. So what if it's bland? So what if it's boring? I'm going with things that I think are gonna hit. I'm trying to do what I can with these plays and try to give you genuine good plays. And so that's what we're doing here. And I picked to win, y'all, Tyler Reddick, 7-1. 7-1. Tyler Reddick. 750 though at DraftKings. That's where I found that price at DraftKings, y'all. Tyler Reddick plus 750. I think he's gonna win this thing, y'all. I think he's in good position. He had Larson beat at Las Vegas, so I think he'll be able to take him down this week if his pit crew can come through, which I think it'll be at least pretty good. So Tyler Reddick, I think, will be able to get it done. So we'll see, though. That's it. That's what we're gonna go with, and hope they do well. Did well last week. We'll see if they can deliver again. And our final segment here on Spencer Talks NASCAR, the top prospects in NASCAR. This is what I'm really looking forward to, y'all. We're going to discuss these top prospects here, and you got the big four prospects here. And the first one I'd like to discuss, y'all, he's doing amazing things in the Xfinity Series, y'all, and that's Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith is the first prospect we're going to talk about here because, man, this kid is killing it with Joe Gibbs Racing. I mean, just each and every week, he is putting up strong numbers and doing his thing. Got 2 wins already this year, and it's tough because these Cup guys come in, especially that 17 Hendrick car a lot of times enters, and they've already stole a win with Kyle Larson. So, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to win the Xfinity Series. I mean, especially with your own teammates. I mean, like for him, Eric Almirola, man. Eric Almirola stole a win last week at Martinsville. So, yeah, Chandler Smith, y'all, he is killing it. Like, this kid is doing his thing, and I think he could be on track to the Cup Series. It looked like he was on track to get a colleague seat, but then that didn't work out. I think he was smart to go ahead and go with JGR, getting that Toyota development pipeline, because this kid's really doing his thing, and they definitely have a lot of good prospects with Toyota. We're going to get to Corey Heim in just a bit, and they've got a few other ones. Really young kid, William Sawalich in the ARCA. He's gonna be up sooner rather than later. He's so young now. I think he's only 18, so he probably won't be in the Cup Series for a few more years. But Chandler Smith, him and Corey Heim really doing their thing. And so I guess we'll get to Corey Heim next, and he's been really doing his thing in the Truck Series, y'all. Corey Heim, that is. And so I think the thing with Corey Heim, he's going to have to wait his turn. He's young, but he's doing enough to show that he's going to eventually get there. I mean, he won at COTA. He's showing that. I mean, he's young, showing that he's got a lot of upside there. Second in the points right now behind Ty Majeski. He's a little bit older, but he's having a nice year there. He's in the Ford development pipeline. Ford's development right now really lacking right now. Ford doesn't have any of what I consider the big four. So yeah, we'll see if Corey Heim can keep this up. I think it's very possible, though. He's a guy that he's come up the right way. He's done it right. Started off in trucks with the KBM, stayed in the Toyota pipeline, and I think he's someone that will eventually get to the Cup Series. Now, I'm going to have to wait a little bit. I think his biggest hope would be a 2311 can expand to 3 cars. If 2311 expands, y'all, I think they will want Corey Heim. I mean, they'd probably take Chandler Smith too, but Corey Heim is the one that I think Joe Gibbs is probably grooming him to eventually take Martin Truex Jr.'s number 19, or possibly even Denny Hamlin's number 11, with both of them getting old. Although I would think they might just let Chandler Smith slide into the 2311 or the third team, assuming they expand. Or what could happen there, John Hunter Nemechek, if he keeps running good. I mean, he hadn't gotten off to an amazing start this year, but he's had his moments. So if JHN gets promoted to 2311, then that Legacy Motor Club seat would be open, I think, for Chandler Smith. I think Chandler Smith gets to the Cup Series. I think he's done enough. But I think Corey Heim and William Sawalich are more the ones that, I mean, they've been Toyota guys. Chandler Smith, they just signed him. He wasn't a guy they've had since he was 18. Where like Corey Heim and William Sawalich, I think, are the two that they're really grooming to replace Truex and Hamlin, kind of like the way they did with Ty Gibbs. And then, sure enough, with Kyle Busch's situation, the seat opened up, and boom, Ty Gibbs got the Cup seat at a super young age. So don't be surprised if JGR keeps going with these young guys. And Corey Heim, if he keeps up this pace, could very well find himself, and not just a Cup ride, a JGR Cup ride within the next 2 or 3 years if things break his way. Hell, maybe as soon as 2025 if Truex retires. But if Truex retires, I don't know what they'll do at that point. I think they hope Truex keeps going, because I think they probably want Corey Heim to run a full Xfinity season before they promote him. But we'll see what happens. Definitely one of the big names. So William Swalich is still a little too young to me to be considered one of the big four in this case. But I feel like Corey Heim, even though he's still in trucks, has definitely done enough. And then speaking of still in trucks, man, the name that's really got people buzzing, Rajah Caruth. He won a truck race this year, and he's got the flashy personality that I think that Cup owners, team owners are going to want, because we keep saying about, I said earlier about William Byron being too vanilla or whatever. I think Rajah Caruth's a guy that could really be a guy that could definitely be an impact driver to get fans from outside of sport to pay attention. So Rajah Caruth, a big name. He's got Hendrick cars backing him. I definitely think he's a guy that's going to get to the Cup Series sooner rather than later. And then Jesse Love, y'all. Jesse Love, the RCR top prospect, which Austin Hill has been killing it, but I feel like Austin Hill's a little too old to be considered a prospect. Plus, he's made some Cup starts. Jesse Love, though, I think is the guy that, if all things go well for Richard Childress, he'll be able to replace Kyle Busch on him when Kyle Busch calls it quits. Although the way Austin Dillon's been driving, he might have to just pull the plug on his own grandson and let Jesse Love take that seat. Although maybe they'll give that seat to Austin Hill, since Austin Hill's probably a little more Cup ready, and then they could eventually start a third team for Jesse Love if Kyle Busch. Because Kyle Busch isn't even 40 years old yet. He might want to drive another 5 more years. You never know. Or if he happens to leave RCR before then you could always get Jesse Love. But yeah, Jesse Love's someone I definitely think Richard Childress is going to do his best to keep. Kind of like with Tyler Reddick. Let Tyler Reddick get away. Didn't want to. I was very upset about that. So I think Jesse Love, assuming RCR pays the bills, and treats Jesse right, I think Jesse's going to stay with this team for the long run. And he's a talented driver, top 5 in the Xfinity series, and what's his first full season in the series. So yeah, I think he's got a bright future and will be a full-time Cup driver within the next 2 to 3 years. And yeah, that's going to do it for this episode, y'all. We're going to have more prospect talk. We're going to talk more about Carson Kvapil made his Xfinity debut, one of Dale Jr.'s prospects there. Travis Kvapil's son, short track guy, finished top 5 at Martinsville in a junior motorsports car. So congrats to Carson for that, and we'll keep an eye on him. He's very young, I believe only 20 years old, so he's someone that eventually slides into one of those junior motorsports Xfinity cars, kind of like the way Junior got Josh Berry in there. These short track guys. So we'll see. We're going to have a lot more talk about that, y'all, but we'll be back each and every week. Next week, we'll be previewing. I think Talladega is up next, so we'll be talking about that. So with that being said, we're going to sign off here on this episode of Spencer Talks NASCAR. We'll be back next week for Talladega, and hopefully Texas will be better than Martinsville. Peace out, y'all.